Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Payne. Welcome back to another episode of Blu Ocean Crypto. So today I want to go through a full list of prioritizing structures when it comes to HQ9. Now, this is going to be a little bit my opinion and kind of subjective. Of course, you guys can alter the order, but I'm going to go through every single structure and, in my opinion, what the best priority is on how to tackle what to upgrade first. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
I want to play.
Okay, so I made this list, and what I did is I put the cost next to the structure as well as how many they have. Now, I didn't say oil or gold because obviously all of that is assumed. We should know by this point. Walls, for example, can use both after a certain threshold. But I want to go through and just organize this with you guys. Of course, anyone has any comments or suggestions or things that they did differently, feel free to let us know below. And just a quick mention, I want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying this content, please do me a big favor and use creator code GROTH. You can put that in your settings, your profile. All those proceeds go back to Mavia and Alliance events and giveaways. So what's the first thing? Well, right away, I definitely think the laboratory needs to be at the very top because that's the thing that's going to let you upgrade troops. Now, I didn't put troops and heroes on this list because they're not considered structures, but obviously I would recommend do your attacking army first, then work on heroes. Now, what's the next thing? Obviously, rally points are pretty important. I'm going to keep the rally points up at the top, but I'm also going to move the rocket tower there because rally points are costing oil. Rocket towers are costing gold, so obviously you can kind of balance that out. Now, you don't necessarily have to max all the rally points, all 6 of them, right away before you start working on anything else with oil. But I did. You know, those extra troops really made a big difference. Even though the last level I was only getting 1 extra troop, by the time I had all 6 done, that's an extra 6 troops. It actually did make a difference. The reason why the rocket tower, it just costs the most gold, get it out of the way, and it can help against all the meta. So it doesn't matter what attack's coming at you. If phages are coming at you, air, ground, it's just the most versatile. Then, with how important anti-air is, I'm going to move those up right underneath the rocket towers. I think that needs to be done right after the rocket towers. Air is just so strong right now. And then I'm going to move the sniper towers up underneath that as well. Now, that's getting the most expensive things done, but the sniper towers also really help against air and they help against all the ground attacks. The question really starts to become what to do after this. Now, it's a little bit of a toss-up. I definitely think motors should be at the top because they really help with ground attacks. However, the explosive mines, I would say probably could either go before the motors or right around there. I think those are going to be super important. Same with the flying mines. So maybe what you could do, you could get the sniper towers done, then the flying bombs, then move over to the motors. But me personally, I'm going to do it in this order. I'm going to do the motors first, then the explosives, then the flying bombs, and then the ice bombs. Now, yes, the ice bombs are a little cheaper than, say, the turrets or the flamethrower or any of these other things. I just think it's more beneficial to get the traps done once you got the motors under the way or out of the way. And moving on, personally, I'm going to do all my turrets. Now, yes, the whole ice and fire with the debuff things are really great, but flame towers have a really long build time. Actually, they've always kind of been infamous for that. I'd rather get my turrets out of the way. They're a little bit more expensive. So I'm actually going to put the flame towers first and then the ice towers after that. Now you kind of got a lot of the leftover stuff, I guess you could say, right? So there's obviously all of the factories. I would put them last. That's really not that important. I would probably say it's good to work on your storages after this because they actually do add quite a bit of defense to your base because of the hit points that they add. We don't need the storages to actually facilitate any of the upgrades. I actually think even level 45 heroes don't take more than the 10.8 million or the maximum that the lower level collectors can hold. But getting them for that defensive purpose, I think, is really important. Then I'm going to say collectors after that. Because same thing, they are adding a little bit of hit points to The defensive structures, not that important. We all know that collectors really don't do too much, as far as loot collection goes. But once again, we're kind of getting the last things. We got to put them somewhere on the list. And if they had more of an impact, like let's say they were double the production speed, they'd be way up here near the top, but they're not. So they're just more to get that extra hit points. Sure, the little bit of extra gold and oil can maybe help you work on your walls, which I'm going to keep here above all the infantry factories. Now, that being said, you can definitely work on your walls as you're doing all these other things, depending on if you have excess loot. Some people are liking keeping one builder up so that you can just keep working on the walls. For me personally, I always used to feel that walls were the things that needed to get done first, but really the meta is showing us that that's not quite the case. It's actually much better to level up your structures. So I just want to take one more quick look here, make sure everything is in proper order. We got the laboratory, moving to the rally points, rocket tower, anti-air sniper tower, then motors, then doing all of the mines, then turrets, flame towers, and then ice towers. Then we're moving into the storages, the collectors, then walls, kind of finishing them up, as well as all the factories. Now, some of the factories might get done a little earlier. If you've got a builder open, you've got nowhere to put your oil, maybe your warlord's upgrading to 43, you kind of have to just dump it into something. Another important thing to note, and I don't think a lot of people know this, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it can work well, is if you dump, let's say, your oil into the infantry factory, you can actually cancel that construction and get refunded half at any time. So some people will do that as a clever way to hide resources, but I would argue if you already paid for the upgrade, just let it finish anyways. But maybe you want to cancel it after a day or two, and then you can kind of move. I'll give you an example. For whatever reason, maybe you can't afford the level 45 warlord upgrade because he costs 10 million. But at the end of your session, you're sitting on 8 million oil. What are you going to do with it? You can't buy a shield. Your shield cooldowns are done. You could throw it into an infantry factory, one of the factories, knowing that you're going to get 4 million back later. So now you can just farm 6 million, cancel the upgrade. Now you got enough for your warlord. So use that very sparingly and in like worst case scenario situations, but it definitely is something that can work. So this is what I'm following right now. It seems to be working the best for me. On my main account, I have all the sniper towers done. I'm actually just finishing up the last motor right now, I think. And then I'm going to be tackling all of the bombs before I move on to the turrets. I'm starting to get some more defenses. People are failing. I'm starting to actually notice the impact. It's kind of hard to tell when you're first doing the few upgrades. It feels like people are still smashing you, but just keep at it. Hopefully this list helps you guys. And I just want to say thanks so much for being subscribed to the channel. It really makes a big difference. Do me a favor and smash that like button, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.